be discussing and trying out 3 different ways to make crispy skin chicken. Now, I have a beautiful granddaughter whose name is Brooklyn, and she loves chicken. She loves pollo loco. But what I've noticed is that she likes the chicken skin, the crispy skin, and once she eats that, she's done. So I thought I have to figure out a way to make the chicken with the crispy skin, but still so delicious that she'll want to eat it. So without further ado, we're gonna try out 3 different ways of making crispy skinned chicken. I have here an oven pan and a rack over it so that the drippings go down and the chicken's not too soggy. I like to always put a piece of parchment paper so that the cleanup is much easier. I've got chicken thighs. They're the juiciest and most tender of the chicken pieces. So I'm gonna put them on the rack. Here's a little one. I'm gonna pat it dry so that there's no water moisture. There's nothing that will make it soggy. Let's turn it over. Make sure the bottom is dried as well. Let's sprinkle it with a little bit of olive oil. I'm going to use a napkin because I don't want to be touching the chicken with my hands. Let's turn it over. I'm only doing 2 because since we're trying out 3 different recipes, I don't want to end up with, you know, dozens of chicken thighs already cooked. Okay, there's my oil. Nicely spread and coating. Now, this is a combination. I make it myself. It's sazon. People usually buy the little packets of sazon Goya, but I make my own. And all it is garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, pepper, salt, oregano, you name it, I put it in. Let's make sure that it is nice and thick over the chicken. And I'm going to use the same paper towel that I used to spread the oil, and I'm going to make sure that it's pressed onto the chicken skin. Let's set the oven to 400 degrees and wait until the light is green and we know that the oven is warmed before we put in our chicken. Okay, and here we go. Oh, I'm so excited. I just love it when Brooklyn is excited about eating her crispy chicken. Okay, so this is method number 2. Let's see how this one works out. Someone actually told me about this, so I'm gonna try and replicate it. This is my Instapot, my dear Instapot that I love so much and use so frequently. And I don't get any money for this, but God, what a great thing. Anyway, it's an electric pressure cooker and a saute pan and a rice cooker and many things, but today we're going to use it to cook the chicken and try and get as much of the moisture out as possible, as well as cooking the center or the meat of the chicken. I'm using a rack so that all the drippings can go to the bottom, and that way it will not be soggy. Remember, our goal is crispiness, but this is just step number 1. Now I have here again 2 chicken thighs, which I'm going to put on the rack. Now we don't need to worry about drying it because this is a pressure cooker. It actually works with steam. So as a matter of fact, we need to add water to the bottom of the pan, and I'm adding about ½ cup of water in order for the steam to build up and the chicken to cook. I am, however, going to put my favorite seasoning again. I don't want to use different seasoning for each method because I don't want to have so many different variables. I want everything the same except for the crispiness, and that's how we're gonna test this. So I'm gonna sprinkle this on top of the chicken. I wish you could smell this seasoning. It's just amazing. Okay. And here we are. Let's cover it and get started. I had to go get my glasses so that I could see the settings. Anyway, let's cover it. Make sure it's twisted locked. And I'm going to set it on, let's see, rice. I'm going to put it on meat and stew. There we go. Now it says 35 minutes. I don't want that long. I'm going to set it for 15. So I just press the minus sign until it goes down to 15. There we go. So that means that as soon as the pressure builds up and this pin sticks up, it starts counting 15 minutes. It just got started. Our third method to try and get this crispy skinned chicken is to use a cast iron skillet. Now the first thing I'm going to do is lay the chicken thighs on the skin side down and try and flatten it by cutting around the bone as much as possible. I want to make sure that it cooks through and that all of the skin touches the skillet. So here we are. This is a special cutting sheet that I use only for chicken. Make sure I don't cross-contaminate anything. I'm putting it the skin side down so that I can cut around the bone and make it as flat as possible. And with this one that I have here that I already did, I ended up cutting the bone out, and why not? It'll be easier to cook. I'm sure a professional chef can do this in a jiffy, but hey, I'm not a professional chef. I'm just a grandma trying to make crispy skinned chicken for her granddaughter. Oop, here's a little piece that sort of came out. I'll just let it sit there. Now with the other one, I kind of took off all this extra skin, but what the heck, I'm gonna leave it on and see what happens. It'll just be more deliciousness for Brooklyn. Okay, and I'm gonna season it on both sides. I am going to cook the skin side down first. Here we go, make sure the skin is nice and stretched. And then I'm gonna put the seasoning over it. Awesome, the seasoning smells delicious. And let's get it into the cast iron skillet. So here we are. Let's check, let's turn the oven off and pull it out. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh, look at that. Can you hear it? It's nice and crispy. And yet, it's juicy on the bottom. Oh, this one's really crispy. Oh, it looks so delicious. Oh, look at that, so well done. Wow, I'm really excited for this recipe. We'll come back when it's time to test it, to actually try it. So here we are. It's time to pull out our first method chicken, the one where we just put it on a rack in the oven. Here we go. And oh, they are crispy. Look at this. I can hear them. Oh, wow. This looks delicious. Kind of stuck a little bit, but oh my, this looks amazing. And you can see all the liquid has gone to the bottom, so it won't be soggy. Let me see this. There we go. Wow. And the bone is still in this one. We deboned the second method, but not this one. Okay. So it's been about 6 or 7 minutes. Let's take a look. Ooh, it's nice and crispy and toasty. I like that. Now, this is my own doing. I like to be sure that all the liquid comes out and it's cooked inside. So I put that bacon press on it. It doesn't seem to harm the crisp. The trick is to make sure it's still moist. Oh wow, this looks amazing. And to think that pioneer women used to use cast iron skillets and use the axle grease from the wagon to grease the pan. Oh, this is very crispy. Wow, amazing. So I'll now take it out and we'll check on method number 3. Wow, look at that. Amazing. This one looks very good. I wanted to talk to you about these tongs that I'm using. They're very simple. They have a metal ring that you push down to hold them together when you put them away in the drawer. I get these, believe it or not, at the Dollar Tree, and I have about 4 of them, and I love it. They're just so easy to use. They clean so easily. It's just amazing. So our first method was to pat dry the chicken and put it on a rack in the oven to roast. And I left it in there for about 40 minutes. Then the second method was to butterfly or open up that chicken thigh as much as we could, flatten it as much as we could. I actually took the bone out and then fry it without hardly any oil in a cast iron skillet. Okay, so we've done with that one. Our third method, if you recall, was to first cook it for 15 minutes in the pressure cooker. Now I'm using a 3-quart Instapot. I did season it and I did put it on a rack so that all the liquid could go down to the bottom. And here it is. And as you can see, it's not crispy and it's kind of soggy on the bottom. So now I'm putting that in another rack and I'll put it in the broiler for a few minutes, not for very long, just long enough to toast that skin. Now it looks pretty toasty because it has a lot of seasoning on top, but it's not. It's actually it's cooked. I mean, it's good, but it's not crispy. And the whole goal of this exercise is to figure out the best crispy skin chicken for Brooklyn. And we're back. We're back with our 3 crispy skin chickens that have now been completed. We had 3 different methods. One was you pat it dry, cover it in oil, spices, and you place it in the oven on a rack so that all the drippings can fall off and the skin will be crispy. And in fact, it is. It's very crispy. I don't think you can hear it from there, but it's really crispy. So very anxious to try this. The second method was to butterfly, or at least make sure that it was really flat. I took off the bone because it was kind of in the way, but basically, and then put it on a cast iron skillet, hot oil, and kind of fry it. I also used a bacon press to make sure that it got cooked all the way through. It looks good. And again, very, very crispy. The third method, we pre-cooked it in a pressure cooker, in this case the Instapot, and then we put it under the broiler for the last 10 minutes, I would say, and that's crispy as well. But let's try it. I used all 3 times the same seasoning, so that what we're looking for here is not so much the taste. I know the seasoning is good. It's the texture. Which one is the crispiest and which one just feels the best. So let's get going. I'm going to try the on the rack method first. Here's the oven rack crispy chicken. Here is the cast iron skillet crispy skin chicken. And here is the one that is pre-cooked in a pressure cooker and then put under the broiler for the last 10 minutes or so to get it nice and crispy. Let's all try it. Okay. Here you go. Very crispy, cooked through, nice tender meat. Very good, very good. This is the one on the oven rack. Now we're going to try the one in the cast iron skillet. This one is delicious. It has that crispy skin, even crispier than the other one, and very moist. Oh, I really like that one. And now we're going to try the one that was pre-cooked in the pressure cooker. Yeah. Let me go back to the skillet one. Wow. I have to say, the first and second method had nice crispy skin. The third one, not as much. Maybe I could have left it under the broiler longer, but it was already starting to char a little bit. Between the first and the second though, oh, that second one, first of all, it was crispy on both sides, and the skin is so crispy and the inside is so thin, but it's so moist. It's like the flavors were all condensed. Definitely my winner. Oh, I cannot wait to share this with Brooklyn, my granddaughter who loves crispy skin chicken. Thank you so much for joining. Don't forget, click that share and like button. Check us out on Instagram, and we'll see you next time.